Action turns into movement, which turns into momentum, which can be truly, truly magnificent. So act now. But Louis, where do I start? Where do I go? What if I'm nervous, anxious, or scared? I apply the act now principle. Madam Contest Chair, fellow participants, thank you for being here. What do you do when you're stuck? I act. ACT, attitude, consistency, time. With this, all of my problems are solved. You see, you got to start with the right attitude. You've got to maintain the attitude that you've already won. With this attitude that I apply on the daily, I go into literally any situation, no matter if the room is burning down in flames, because I've already known that I will take something from this experience. I make sure that no matter what happens, I've already won. I take something from it. I find value. I smile. I find the reason to smile. You've got to do this. Attitude will help you accomplish anything that you're trying to do. So if you're struggling at all, if you find yourself with any kind of excuses, realize that you're coming up with this excuse. You're making the decision to follow this excuse. You can also make that decision to change your attitude. So I suggest trying the attitude that you've already won. Once you get that, you can go into different scenarios more open. You find that instead of having to do different tasks and being like, oh, I have to do such and such this, I have to do such and such this, it becomes, I get to do this. I want to do this. Because even if it is a difficult part of your day, you're going to find some kind of value. You're going to win from this, and you're going to become a better individual about it. This is all part of your attitude. Without attitude, you cannot continue with your acting principle. When you apply both of these things, already wanting to win and wanting to do things, getting to do things as opposed to having to do things, you will immediately learn from everything. Like mentioned, if you walk into a burning room and you're like, this is definitely not the place that I need to be, sure, but maybe you have to be there. And maybe you can find one little piece of information that will change your life forever, something that you've never considered applying before. That's all down to the attitude. Once you're able to establish this attitude, what comes next? C, consistency. You can't just wake up one day and be like, okay, I'm going to be spectacular today, and then go back to your regular life. Not really sure what your regular life is, but you can't just go back to not wanting to be about everything that you're doing. You have to remain consistent. In order for me to establish my consistency, whenever I take on new tasks, I ask myself the question, hey, am I interested or am I committed? This is a very big question that you've got to answer for yourself, because if you find that you're interested, you're like, oh, I want to talk about this. Maybe I hope I can do that in the future. You know, one day I'll get that done. That's all what interested people say. The difference between an interested individual and a committed individual is the committed individual is going to make sure that all of the things that have to happen will happen, no matter how ugly it is. If it's unsexy, the committed individual is diving in head first. Are you going to be doing the things that you have to do when no one is watching? That's a real differentiator between someone who is interested and someone who's committed. The interested individual will just be like, oh yeah, look at my pictures, post on social media, and show that it's a whole bunch of fake lifestyle because they're only interested in pursuing it. The committed person is going to make all the ultimate sacrifices, change their diet, change their sleep schedule, remove toxic friends from their lives, pursue more challenging tasks, and they're going to move forward with it. They're going to remain consistent even when times get tough. I say time now. Time, T, the last letter of act now principle. Why do I mention time in this? Because time is constantly ongoing. We can totally agree with this. And I also like to think that time is our most valuable resource. Without a doubt, hands down, no matter what you try and come at me with, I'll actually take some time after the meeting if you want to rebuttal this, but time is the most valuable resource to us. You can throw love into the picture, you can throw money into the picture, but none of that, all of that actually, I should say, becomes obsolete without time. You can't buy time, you can't trade time, at least not right now. In the virtual world, who knows? You know, because everything is shifting. But in today's date, time is incredibly valuable. And with this time, what do you do with it? My advice for that is I suggest that you always remain prepared. No matter what you're doing, there will be an opportunity that comes knocking on your door. If you don't have a door, people will walk up to you and literally just say something that cues an idea. And if you're not prepared, if you're not utilizing your time properly, that opportunity will just slip on by. And the next person who is lucky will have taken up that opportunity, and they will accomplish what you were hoping to get done. All of that is an excuse. All of that can change with your attitude. You have to maintain this attitude over a consistent period of time. You have to maintain this time because time is so valuable. Something else with attitude and time is always maintain the belief that it's only the beginning. I've seen a lot of people make the excuses, oh, I've never done this before, I'm nervous, how do I even go about approaching this? But the funny thing is, no matter how far you develop into your career, you're always going to be doing things that you've never done before. For example, I've never given a speech virtually with this platform, wearing this sweater, talking about this topic. But not once did I mention that I've never done this before, because everything that I do is always the first time I'm doing it. It helps me maintain a degree of excitement about it, and it helps me tackle everything with as much enthusiasm. Attitude, consistency, time, act. Action turns into movement, which turns into momentum, which can be truly, truly magnificent. Please, act now. Contest chair.